Welcome to LAX TRAX. All lacrosse, all the time. Your source for California lacrosse. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to LAX TRAX. Super happy to have you guys here tonight. Once again, my name is Tom Bowman, and my producer is Jimmy Bull, and we're here to talk all things California lacrosse. In fact, we want to talk more about stories and what's going on here in the scene in California, and go deep beyond just the scores and rankings, and talk to people and talk to coaches and get ourselves sort of acclimated as to California lacrosse. So, again, Jimmy and I are just a couple of guys in our garage, and again, we felt the need. We need to get information out there to everyone about California lacrosse. So, again, very fortunate to be involved in lacrosse. I've been a player and coach, and got kids and nieces and nephews that all play. Jimmy as well, player and coach as well. So, hopefully, we have a little bit of cred. I don't know, maybe a little bit. I did announce the World Lacrosse Championships here recently in San Diego. So, I don't know. Maybe it gives me some cred, maybe not, but. I'm also a G.I. Joe figure, Jimmy, so that's kind of a weird thing as well.
That's a lot of cred right there.
There you go. I don't know. Anyways, without further ado, again, we want to bring you a show with a lot of authenticity. It's going to be informational, educational, but most of all, let's just have a lot of fun and make it entertaining. So without further ado, we are certainly so fortunate tonight to have on our show what we're considering a lacrosse legend here in California. He's a head coach and a great friend, hopefully, of the show. And just all-around great guy. So we'd like to introduce you to the Crespi head coach, Brock Livingston. Welcome, Brock, and welcome, Celts Nation, I guess I should say.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. I'm happy to do this, and especially with you guys. Thank you.
No, really, really excited to have you here. What I'm going to do, Brock, is we'll get to know a little bit about you and talk a little bit about you and certainly talk about the season and what you see going on here. But I want to just kind of back up, maybe get a little historical perspective and in your bio. And from what I have gleaned, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, you grew up in Virginia, right? Burke, Virginia?
Burke, Virginia. Basically, everybody knows it as Fairfax, Virginia, or Nova, Northern Virginia.
Okay. And you went to high school, Robinson High School?
Yes, sir.
And you played there as well?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Robinson is a really big public school. There's a bunch of really strong lacrosse programs, and they've always been one of them. And like my neighbors who are older than me were playing, and they taught me how to play. And all my buddies I still talk to, we still have a lot of pride. Actually, the head coach is one of my former teammates.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so there's been two of us from my graduating class from my high school team that have gone on to coach our high school. So it's big for us.
So you coached there as I read, right?
I coached out of college. I started with we had a ninth grade team. So that was really my first coaching, was a couple years of freshman. And then I moved up to JV, and then I helped with the varsity players and doing that type of stuff. So that's kind of where I got my start in coaching.
Okay. Very, very cool. So from high school, you went on to Farmingdale, right?
Sure.
Farmingdale State College, was that in 92, 94? Did I read?
Yes, sir.
And
yep.
Two-time JUCO All-American. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Proud to know that. That's awesome. And then you headed on to Delaware, right? Which is probably where you cut your teeth on some D1 lacrosse, right?
Yes, sir. Had a couple opportunities. That was a great fit for me, and I really enjoyed my time there.
What are those, the Blue Hens? Is that what they are?
Yeah, well, Fighting Blue Hens.
Yeah. Okay, Jimmy, don't forget the Fighting Blue Hens.
And they fight because they kicked some ass last year.
Oh, we will peck your eyes out if you don't watch out.
I love it. That's awesome. So, and then you headed into the professional ranks for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really great at it. I got fortunate to make the team, and I learned a lot. And
tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was hard. It was, there's not a lot of money in that, and So I was driving about an hour and a half to practice 3 times a week and back home again. So like 3 hours driving and a 2 hour practice. It was up in Baltimore, and the second year was like a little north of Baltimore. And there's a team called the Baltimore Thunder. They're not around anymore. But it was fun. I was not a natural at that. It's such a hard game to play at that level. And I was kind of happy to be there and getting better. But yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So,
Any good stories about any teammates or players or games or anything that are
I
kind of
mean,
interesting?
I had some good friends on the team. I think just a guy that I kind of grew up with. He was a rival of ours in high school, school down the road called Woodson. Literally, it was you could see their stadium from our practice fields, and because we were up on a hill. Kip Fulks, and I think everybody knows who he is. He's was an All-American at Maryland. He was the same as me. Went to the JUCO ranks.
Nice. Yeah.
But we were friends, and then we ended up playing on the Thunder. He was a bona fide superstar, but a very humble guy. Really, really, talked to him a lot, learned some stuff from him. You know, I I'll be honest, like one of the coolest things was playing with Gary Gate.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got to play with him and watch
Legendary.
that amazing,
That's really cool.
That is so
amazing
cool.
man. Yeah, he was so good. So that was fun. So that made it worth it.
Yeah. I mean, what a legend he is. I mean, I can't even imagine playing with him. That would be unreal.
Just some of the slick moves and the just the IQ that guy has, just the way that he could get the ball somewhere that you wouldn't think he could get it there, whether it's behind his back or whatever. I mean,
It's kind of like
he was
it's
he
kind of
was
like
so good.
kind of like Jokic with the Nuggets, right? He's just
Yeah,
the guy doesn't
yeah,
even look and he's got to pass to a guy. It's
yeah,
some guys I
yeah,
think just have that innately, right? I mean, I think they're just born with that
yeah,
that seventh sense or whatever sense you want to call it. But
yeah.
how cool was that? That's a great story.
I mean, I watched him when I was in middle school and high school, and when they were the biggest thing on the planet, and they still are in my mind. But yeah, so smooth, so talented, just unreal. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Curious, how would you stack him up against the Thompsons? Like, because they're kind of in that same level of pioneering, or in my
Yeah.
eyes.
I think the Thompsons brought a lot of what we're doing today to the game.
Mhm.
And if you were to go back when the Gates were, they changed the game forward as well. So kind of, I don't know if they're even. I mean, the athletic ability of Paul and Gary, to just watch them run and how strong they were. And I know the Thompsons are really good with their skills. Maybe I don't know who to say is better. I don't know. It's
No,
it's
we're
Yeah,
not
no, no,
asking
no,
that.
no.
It's just
it's a toss up. I think just watching the Gates as a kid it just left a huge imprint on me. So
very cool.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Both generational players for sure.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So then you started. We talked about starting your coaching career at Robinson, then at Farmingdale, and then now at Crespi. How did you get out to California from the East Coast?
I always wanted to move out here. So I took a chance. I came out. My girlfriend had taken a job at the time, and we're still together. And so I moved out. And funny thing is sh I found two jobs. One was I can't remember the other school, and one was an assistant at Crespi. And she had been out here for a couple months, and she said, "This is LA." She said, "Crespi's about 2 miles away. This other school was like 15." She goes, "No, you want to be close. It's not."
Nice.
15 miles in LA is like 100 and back in Virginia. It just takes forever. So I got lucky. I interviewed, I got the job, spent a couple years as an assistant, and then ended up taking over the position in 2011.
So what year is this for you? Is this 16, 17, somewhere in that neighborhood?
I think it's 14.
14.
Yeah. I mean, total is probably 16 as an assistant, but
Yeah,
I say
that's what I
14.
meant as at Crespi.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Since 11,
So,
yeah.
wow, what a run. I mean, it's nice to have that stability, right? I mean, there's so many places that people come and go, and just to have that stability and consistency, I think, is key.
I mean, it's taught me a lot. Not, like learning the school, and all boys school is not normal. Like not in a bad way. It's different, and you just really learn to love it here. And I think a lot of my coworkers have been here for a long time as well. So It's a good place. And seeing the change in lacrosse from where it was, you know, from every school, not just our school, and seeing how it's grown and how the clubs have made kids better and the summer tournaments have made kids better, like it's a really fun place to be at.
Yeah. So speaking of kids and tournaments, so you have Live Lax, right? That is your
Sure.
your club or youth program. Tell us a little bit about that.
I designed it, started it to just be our guys. And over the years, we've had, in the summer, we have a little more of an open door policy. Like, kids want to play, they live close, they don't want to drive to Orange County or something. So we do. My goal is never to go win tournaments. It's just to teach lacrosse
Right.
and have our Crespi kids have the benefit of organized practices in the off season and tournaments in the off season. So that was the basis of it. And for the youth, it's the same. It's just catch and throw, learn to play without the ball in their stick. And I think that's something out here that is coming along. But a lot of kids don't know how to play without the ball in their stick. It's get it and go and score. And I think I'm trying, doing my best. And I know there's a lot of guys out here trying to help and make lacrosse players better. So when they get to high school, they have better chances to college.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's all about repetition, right? At the end of the day. And,
Right.
so many youth kids out here always are probably baseball kids, most of them Southern California or California.
Yep.
And that's what they know. That's what their families know. And, sure enough, here comes a guy with a lacrosse ball and a lacrosse stick, and what is that? And but it's all about repetition. So many coaches that we've talked to, and I know over my career, it's all about throwing 100 balls a day at the wall, and
That's it.
that's as basic as it gets and as simple as it gets. And at the end of the day, I look at kid from LCC, JJ Silstrip, who you saw the other day at Denver. I remember him saying he did 100 left, 100 right every single day of his career. And, look what he does to Hopkins the other day. So,
amazing. That was a great shot.
oh my gosh. Not game tire at 2 seconds, game winner, and then that one on Sports Center is top 10 behind his legs. Oh my gosh, just amazing. But anyways, I bring that up. What's that?
Kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I read that he said they didn't do the play right.
Oh, really?
They had set a play up, and then he said it didn't work, and he just like gripped it and ripped it. So worked out.
Coach, we had Coach Hartley on the show, and one of the things he did say that complimented you, he's like, one of the things we want to get to is what Coach Brock is doing with the Live Lax, is get a team so these kids are more familiar in high school with playing each other, because they're all going away and playing club, and
Right.
they get kind of disbanded, and they don't
Right.
have the familiarity. So he complimented your program, so a lot of kudos to you in that.
That's nice. Just touching on that was kind of the thing, is like our boys need to know when someone's cutting this way or cutting that way. And I mean, there's so many kids playing with so many different guys, which I guess is cool too, right? And a different coach is a different voice, but it's different. They're trying to one up each other. They're trying to show the coaches that they can do, so it's just different. So
Yep.
Yeah, no question about it. Anyways, it's exciting with Live Lax and your background. Now, let's get in a little bit to know about you and your thoughts on this year. And you guys went 13-7 last year that I read. Lost to Palos Verdes in the playoffs.
Still haunts me.
I'm sure it does. So tell us a little about this year's team and what you got looking going forward to hit a CIF championship.
All right. Pretty much our whole defense is back. We lost a young man, Cam Gayer, to college. But we had a couple guys behind him that are all back. And our goalie, Edson Nunez, he's got a little chip on his shoulder. He made all league in 10th grade. Last year, he got beat out by two other guys. So I'm really excited about our net minding. And then, Sam Kuliev is probably a very underrated player. I think he's one of the best players in LA. Long pole, he's going to go play at Westminster, and a lot of good young players. So we lost a lot of our offense. So we have to figure out how to score, honestly. But I think we're doing pretty well from clearing and like defense. And I mean, I think we're a pretty long ways off from a CIF championship, to be honest, just to be, but We were working every day. We just had practice an hour ago. Our kids are great kids and they work hard. So we'll see how far that takes us.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't deny drive, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day. So on your schedule this year, do you have any new teams that you're playing that you haven't played before, or how's the schedule looking?
Yeah, no, we do actually. So Santa Margarita, never played them. We've played one of their team. We played them at Sandstorm. Um, so that was, that's a big jump up for us. This will be the third year we're playing Los Alamitos. That's a pretty good team for us.
Mm-hmm.
They got us the last two, hoping to get them this year. Um, and then there's Skylar Hopkins up in San Francisco. He's a friend of mine. He used to be down here in LA. He's bringing his team down. It's Marin Academy.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we've never played them. I know they have some big time college guys, seniors this year going out of there. So that'll be new and that'll be fun.
No,
So
that's exciting. Getting back to your roster. Do you have many guys from last year's squad that are playing in college now?
yes. So Josh Scott is at Amherst.
Very cool.
He was one of our top guys. Man, Parker Preventure was our leading scorer. So he is a big lefty for us. So he's at a school called Aurora, and that's in Chicago. And who else? I'm missing one other ones. Cam Gayer is at Rollins.
Oh, okay.
So those three guys were, and then we always have guys playing at MCLA schools, which is great.
Yeah, but I love the MCLA program. There's more MCLA schools than there are NCAA schools, and it's such an opportunity for guys to go play at a really high level too.
High level, yeah.
Yeah, national championship. I mean, how can you beat that, right?
Right.
So
right.
that's cool. I mean, I know at Lacrosse Canyon, where I announced, we've got several kids that go play MCLA, and super happy for them. Question Jimmy threw at me earlier today. Are we ready, or what's your thoughts on a state championship? I mean, we're pretty sectional, and it's a big state, and I don't know, just kind of getting your thoughts on that.
It would be fun. All the other sports are doing it.
Yeah.
So I think so however it would work out, like it's a southern section, and then you have the San Diego section, and then the north. I think it would be fun. I think we're close. If we're not there this year, I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
The fact that LA and Orange County now play each other in the playoffs for that section is a lot better than when it was just LA would do it, and then the winner would play the winner of Orange County. Now we battle each other throughout the playoffs, which I think is cool. And I think San Diego is so good down there. I think it would just bring lacrosse further along if we did that.
I can tell you, I know all the coaches down here, and we as people around the game are itching for us to be able to get a San Diego section champion to go play somewhere else. And I know the players are too.
I mean, how can you really say who's the best until you do that, right?
Exactly.
Head to head. So,
I mean, that's why, you look at some of the top programs here in San Diego, they always try to go play a lot of top programs in LA and in Orange County just in the regular season, because they don't get a chance postseason. So,
right.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I think it makes perfect sense.
It would be so cool.
Yeah, be very cool.
Yeah.
So you've done high school, you've done youth, and you've done college. Give me a little sense of the difference in coaching them. Obviously, age and strength and all that sort of stuff, but from a mental standpoint, a philosophical coaching standpoint, give me the differences in your mind on coaching those different levels.
Well, just a couple years I did college, it was a little bit of a letdown. You don't have that development aspect. Like you still have work to do. You still have to make them better to the level they're at, but like they tend to have more of their own mindset. Like they're allowed to go, practice is over, and I feel like they're in their car, they're going to their dorms, or they're going back to their Kappa Alpha house or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And to me, it's like they're left to their own devices a lot more. And it's a little scarier in my mind. Like you're not able to like make sure they're not doing something bad to their bodies the day before a game. You just hope and pray. Youth is just like, I think it can just be pretty taxing more than people think, because they're squirrely. They're all over the place. They're not catching and throwing. as well as you would like. And it's a lot of mental work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Just keeping yourself. And I think what I just really like about the high school is those young men are at the age where they can have a conversation and you can sit down and you can say to them like, why are we going over that? Why was I on you in practice? And then they can actually sit there and, and say, well, you're trying to do this or you're trying to do that. And you can have a really thoughtful interaction, and hopefully you can keep guiding them to where they want to go and where you would like to see them go. And that's the difference. I don't think it's any easier. I think it's just like you can tell which one I seem to like best, right?
yeah.
But
No, I get the sense. Yeah.
there's like an actual little man in there, and you can like hopefully help them develop, I think.
Well, I think
So
it's exciting because they're at an age where they look to you as a mentor and they look to you as someone who can help them get to whatever level that be. They may not even want to play in college, but at least you can
right,
get them to be a better man or better person.
right,
And or they may want to play D1, D2, D3, whatever, or MCLA. But
right,
whatever level they rise to, that's such
right.
a 4-year span of life that's so there's so much impression, right?
So
And
much. It's very important.
yeah,
Yep.
and you as a real central figure outside of their parents, outside of the household, are the main person out there to guide them.
It's yeah, and it's fun and it's hard and it's frustrating and all of that stuff too. But I think a lot of coaches would agree with me. Like when you see them off in college, and then since I'm a little older, I'm a lot old man now, like you see them post college, like it's really awesome to see what they become and what they're doing and things like that.
Yeah, it's funny. When we had Dallas on, we were talking about, I don't know if you remember Mike Reese, who played for Dallas at Lacrosse Canyon, went to Denver and won the national championship. And he's just an incredibly gracious, humble kid, and is doing really well. I think he's selling insurance or something now, and
Yeah.
and he's just a great human being. And I attribute a lot of that to the discipline he inherited and was educated by in high school. So and
Yep.
certainly in college.
Yep.
Any of your alumni that are kind of CEO types or big companies or doing acting or
Uh,
any
I've got
stars?
I've got one that's a dentist. That's pretty
Nice,
exciting.
nice.
I wouldn't say CEOs yet. I would say there's a couple working in the finance industry that seem to be doing well. Yeah, a couple that are doing well, like general contractors, like running their own little companies and
Nice.
things like that. So that's cool stuff.
Yeah,
That's rewarding for
So
sure.
that's certainly rewarding for sure.
yeah, yeah.
All right, let me ask you this, and I probably know the answer, but I want to hear it from you because we've asked a bunch of coaches. Are you a drive or skills guy? And what I mean by that is, if you have a guy that's incredible with skills but limited drive, little lazy, or super driven with no skills at all, how do you address the two, and which one do you like or need or whatever?
Man, you can't replace having drive,
Yeah,
because you can always, depending on, let's say they're young and they have drive, like you can really build. You can really build. And then, like you said, like, I'm sure like I'd rather be a drive guy because I feel like uh you have just a bigger landscape to work with because they want it. I've seen kids in a year and a half time with drive and stuff be able to do things that, just that most people can't do. Having all the skills is nice, but if they don't want it and I think you lose focus too easy. You know what I mean? I
hmm
think
hmm
it's kind of like, so it's kind of a disappointing. In the end, I think that disappoints me. If they have all the skills and they don't have the drive, you're like, can I just take it outside of you and put it into somebody else and
yeah.
then,
Well, it's
make
hard to
them,
teach drive, right? I mean,
oh, it's hard.
that's innate, right? It comes or it doesn't come. Skills
Yeah.
you can teach, and
Yeah.
certainly if you have a guy that's driven, skills come a
Yeah.
lot easier,
Yeah.
right?
I'm a drive guy,
Okay.
definitely.
I
Yeah.
figured you'd say that, but I wanted to hear it from you. So not along those lines, but just kind of moving on to, drive. What do you think's the hardest position to coach, in your mind?
In my mind, it's goalies.
Yeah.
And somebody else might laugh at me, but I think they're a different animal. And trying to gently explain to them certain things. And like, if they're set in their ways, man, I never played the position. So how do I tell him this is wrong? This is, as much as I've been around the game, like other coaches, that kid is still going to say to me, well, you don't know what it's like to take 90-mile-an-hour shots to the face.
Yeah.
So, so it's hard. That for me that's the most challenging one for me.
Is it hard to recruit kids to play goalie?
Yes and no. Like, I think it's hard to, I think it's kind of luck of the draw, right? Like
Yeah.
over the years, we've had some that have never played and they come in and they're not afraid of it. So they're great at it. But if they're afraid of it, you got to find that kid. And I think that's the hardest thing. And right now, it's funny you say this question, because right now our JV, we don't have a goalie.
Okay.
I bumped up the JV goalie to be the backup on the varsity, and we don't have 3 goalies. So we're gonna do some experimenting.
Step it up, boys. We need a JV goalie.
Yep.
Oh,
Just take up space.
Yeah, there you go. Get between the pipes.
Yep.
Do you encourage your players to play other sports at Crespi?
I do.
Uh-huh.
Yep, I do.
Tell me your thoughts on that.
I think it's great to get away from something that I think doing something all year round, specifically just doing it, I think it has a tendency to burn some kids out. I think playing football or running cross country, because it's a fall sport, gives you different it develops you differently, right? So cross country, like, I don't tell many people this, but my dad and mom would not let me play football. So my sister was a runner at her high school, and she was a couple years older. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So she's like, well, come to cross country practice. I mean, it's like 10 miles a day, 9 miles. It's awful.
It's awful.
But what it taught me was a lot of mental toughness, because like, I'm a competitive person and I didn't want to walk. I didn't want to like jump in a car or a cab and drive back to school. I wanted to do it, even though I hated it. And during the races and competition, I learned different skills that I think helped me in lacrosse. Football's the same thing, right? I mean, they're doing all kinds of, like, you're getting battered and beat, and you have to get up in the fourth quarter and you still have to go at it. And the football players that have come and played lacrosse, they're just a different breed, and I don't think they would be if they didn't play football,
Yeah.
I think it's important to do different things. Basketball, how about moving your feet? How about everybody plays offense, everybody plays defense, and I think it's important to play multiple sports. Now, we've had some guys that play 3 sports, lacrosse being the 3rd one of the season. And sometimes I say, jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot, but maybe one other sport, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Little cross training, as they say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's cool. I tend to agree with you. I've had kids that have played multiple sports, and I think it's helped them immensely, using different muscles, using different mental capacities and strategies, and I fully agree with you.
Yep.
So let me ask you this. You seem like a pretty nice guy, Brock. Have you ever been thrown out of a game, or as a player or coach?
It's funny. One time. So my very first year as an assistant at Crespi, we were playing Brentwood High School at Brentwood. And there were a couple coaches on the sideline, and I was one of them, and I was turned around. The reffing's gotten a million times better, but there was this guy that was really all over us. He was calling, it felt personal. I don't know. And I had turned around, I was talking, we had like 3 guys in the penalty box. And I was trying to explain to them, like, here's when you're releasing, you're holding, I'm going to release you on this and all that, whatever. And I guess the other coaches had been yelling at him because the calls were kind of not great. And he turned around and walked up to me and he said something pretty nasty. And I couldn't believe he said it. And I was like he called me a liar, basically. Because I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I kind of got upset at him, and he said, you're out. So I stood up in the bushes. Their school's on a hill. You have a little goat path, and I stood in the goat path and I watched the game.
That's funny. I got thrown out as a parent one time and had to sit outside the stands and watch through the gate.
It's hard, isn't it?
By a referee doing the same thing.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
funny.
fun.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. But Yeah, that's a great story. That's a great story.
Brock, was that when Body by Jake's kids were playing for Brentwood?
It absolutely was. Yep. Uh, so kind of funny too. It wasn't Jake, but there was another well-known LA guy that walked by after the game and he said to me, he goes, "You got hosed." He goes, "I know it wasn't you that was yelling at him for the penalties. You just turned around and got caught and in the wrong spot." And I was like, "Well, but I couldn't do anything about it." So yeah,
That's funny.
frustrating.
That's funny. That's funny.
Mm.
So, kind of along those lines, what's the craziest thing a parent has ever emailed or texted you,
Um,
or annoying thing, whatever? What
I
is it?
had okay, so not really text or email, but
Call,
my
phone call, whatever.
yeah, so my first year we were doing tryouts and I had one goalie that had played in the youth ball and he kind of had like the good stick skills. He was not real athletic. And then I had a kid that was a year older that was just an athlete and we were putting him in the cage and he had like a summer of playing and like a fall of playing and he was not as to the eye wasn't as clean, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
in his
yeah, yeah,
passing,
yeah, yeah.
but he was tough and he got the job done. So I picked him for my varsity goalie and the other kid for the JV goalie. And the parents walked out on the field after practice and they said, I think you're making a mistake. And I said, "What?" And they said, "Our son is way better than that young man." And she explained to me, like, this save, he did this and that save. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I appreciate it. Who knows? Nothing's set in stone." I was just trying to like, I couldn't believe she walked out on the field.
Yeah.
And let's just say halfway through the season, that kid was in a ball of tears because he had gotten like not yelled at by a ref, but he did something. He like swung a stick at a kid, and then he never played again after that. And I couldn't believe it, um, so I was a little, and then they moved to Texas. So I got out of that pretty easily.
There you
So
go.
A little reprieve on that one.
Problem took
Right?
care of
yeah,
itself.
Problem
yeah,
took care of itself,
yeah,
indeed. Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, we've, again, I've coached in as well. And man, there's nothing like, the old playtime text or email and,
yeah,
my kid better than your kid. And I think these youth parents, I all think their kids are getting a D1 scholarship right off the bat just because the kid had picked up a stick,
yeah.
you know?
You know what the funny thing about the scholarships? They only, in my day there was only 12. Are there more now? Are there
I
more?
think there are a lot of partials as
Yeah,
well. In addition,
yeah,
I mean, you hear more partial scholarships than you do full rides. I mean, I think football certainly more, but
yeah.
there's certainly scholarships, whatever form they might be.
Right,
Whether it be
right,
academic or whether it be
right,
athletic.
right.
Um, but I guess my point is, I think there's so many parents, youth parents, that think their kids you know, are the
Yeah,
beat all end all, and here they're going to go play in college. And it's funny, a lot of kids burn out in high school and don't ever want to play in college, and you see
yep,
that all the time, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I think lacrosse has a reputation of having very good students. I think that lacrosse still has that, and the sport. These kids are really applying for some really difficult schools to get into,
yep,
and you got to compete with everybody else. So anything to kind of give you that little edge, scholarship or not, lacrosse does help you. And I do like the fact that a lot of the coaches, yourself included, Brock, have really pushed the academics to the front of the list of importance.
yeah. That's what I try to tell parents when they talk about it because it's nice to get a scholarship, but to be honest, most of my kids are getting in because of grades and they're
Yeah.
getting money because of grades. You know, they're not getting 80 whatever school costs these days. They're ridiculous, but they're getting it because of grades. And I try to explain that to them, you know.
Well,
So
I mean, think about it. I mean, after college, most people aren't going on to play pro or anything, so academics
no,
are going to have to stand pat to get them for their future, to prepare them for their future, right? So,
right. If
um,
if anybody pays attention to the PLL and even the NLL, I think 80 something percent of those guys that you might see in college that get those drafts into those leagues, they don't play more than 2 to 3 years in those
yeah,
leagues
yeah,
because the careers and then the lifestyle changes, because the PLL, those guys travel every weekend.
Yeah.
And, when you're 25, 26, that's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, my boss wants me to work on Saturday, so I can't make that, So, that's the thing. You're right. There's the pro thing just is not yet anyways, maybe a couple, but for most of us out here, it's kind of fun to get some cool gear, get a little bit of money, but
Yeah.
academics, you know?
Yep.
No, I'm glad to hear you preach that. That's awesome. So let me ask you this. Do you have any superstitions before games?
I have a ton.
Tell us about a couple. Love to hear.
Well, my biggest one in the last, I'd say 6 years, I eat pancakes every game day morning.
Nice.
There's a restaurant down the street called VIPs. And I started eating pancakes and it just stuck, and it for no rhyme or reason. But I like pancakes now. So,
Blueberries, bananas.
oh, no. I just like them straight up.
Straight
and,
up?
Yep.
Side of bacon, sunny side up egg with it, or?
I like my egg scrambled.
Oh, there you go.
And I like just some butter and some honey and syrup on those suckers. And that's it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Anything else or any other when you were a player even or?
Like I still kind of do it. Like I take my stick into work every day. And as a player, like I never left it in my locker. I always took it back to the dorms or my apartment and I always wall balled. I think the day before a game growing up, I always had to hit the wall. It was just to make myself calm and, pretty intense guy at times. And just to settle the nerves and make sure I was dialed in. That was always, I had to wall ball all the time. And, as a coach, I still wall ball. Don't ask me why I do it, but I don't need to have good stick skills now, but it's kind of a mental thing.
They might need you for the fourth quarter. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't think I can run.
You have any eligibility still left in high school?
No chance.
Those years are over.
Yep.
That's funny. That's cool. Pancakes. Jimmy, we'll have to remember that. We'll have to head up to VIPs as well, and maybe we'll have some pancakes with you.
You could never make pancakes at home as good as a restaurant, no matter what you do.
Nope. You're right. I can't. I've tried. I can't. So
what do they put in that?
I don't know what it is. I've tried everything, but it never tastes as good as a restaurant.
I'm going to find out their recipe and I'll text it to you.
Yeah,
awesome.
Okay, love it. All right, my friend. Do you have any nicknames, either as a player or coach?
Not really. I don't think. Not really.
No. In college
maybe
or high school, did anybody have anything?
Some of the kids joke around, call me big man, but
Big man.
It's not really. It's like, I don't know. It's because they're 5 feet tall, maybe. I don't know, but not really. Livingston. So my teammates back home call me Liv, and they kind of just. It's kind of going to sound corny, but they go Liv Doctor because of the whole Dr. Livingston.
Oh, right. I presume, yeah.
So that's it. Nothing really crazy.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank goodness.
So I guess it's just plain Coach.
It's simple, Coach Brock. So
Coach Brock, I love it. That's cool. All right, Coach Brock, favorite food beyond the pancakes.
Other than pancakes, I'd say probably chili. I'm a big chili guy.
Nice. Do you make it yourself, or do you can stuff, or what do you do?
Mom makes it, and then Julie makes it. So
nice.
So those are the two best.
Yeah. Nice.
Best chili place in the valley.
No, I don't go out for chili. I eat it at the house.
Homemade. All right.
It's all. Yeah, I don't trust anybody.
Cheese and sour cream on top, or just
cheese and onions.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Had some the other night myself. Love it. You have a favorite restaurant in the valley anywhere there?
It's going to be Vips. It's because they make everything.
The go-to. So, I love it.
We're gonna have to go to Vips.
Yeah. Jimmy, we're gonna
go
meet
out
Coach
and cover
there.
your game and go to Vips.
We're gonna come to one of your games and go to Vips.
Yep, it's literally within a walking distance.
Awesome.
So,
all right, we're in. Favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't know this, but I'm a big dog person. I name them all after characters.
Well, I saw that you, and I was going to ask you about the VP Goose, right? Which was one of your dogs, right?
Yeah. So we had Goose. We've had a Maverick. Both of those guys are passed on, but we have a Merlin and we have a female. We named her Charlie.
And
Awesome.
what breed? What breed?
The first Goose was a yellow lab. The last three have been golden retrievers.
Nice. Yeah, I had a golden retriever. It's nothing like it. The
Ah,
best human family dog you could ever want.
yep,
You
yep.
know.
They're
Well, that's cool.
definitely
You name them after the Top Gun. So obviously you saw the latest one that
it,
was the visuals were off the charts on that.
that movie was great. I will get another dog, and I'll probably go with Rooster for the next one.
Yeah,
Rooster. I love it.
Rooster.
Keep it going.
I love it. If you could meet a celebrity that you haven't met, live, dead, sports, non-sports, who would it be?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Wow, you got me on that. That I could meet live or dead.
Sports, non-sports, just
Yeah.
in general.
I mean, I'll say Joe Montana.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Just my dad was a Niner fan. I'm not a Niner fan.
Who are you pulling for this weekend?
I don't know. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you feel excited
Well,
about it?
considering my wife is from Kansas City,
You're-
got to have a little partiality, but I'm going for the Niners.
yeah, that's good. I like the Brock Purdy story.
Yeah. Mr. Irrelevant to Super Bowl quarterback.
Yep.
Talk about drive and ambition. There, you got it right there, all balled up in one.
Yep. Exactly.
So, all right. Well, Joe Montana. Jimmy, any questions from you over there, real quick?
Yeah, well, I don't know if anybody's. I've been to Crespi. My son actually applied there. A great school. It is truly an iconic campus. It's very old school. It's
Yeah.
got tiny little work areas, small school, but they pack a lot in that little school.
Yep.
So it's got some of the old school character. It hasn't really changed much. What's that little school? How's it like having Derek Fisher on campus? Isn't he the coach there now?
He's the basketball coach. So his office is right next to mine. I wasn't sure. I think we all were kind of like, really. And then he is the most humble, polite, and guy. And you wouldn't know he's Derek Fisher, 5-time champ. He's a great coach. What he's been doing with our kids this year in basketball is I like to sit. I go to a lot of games here from Crespi at all sports, and I've gone to a bunch of basketball this year, and I've sat where I could see him with his dry erase board in timeouts,
Mhm.
and just the way he collects everybody, the way that he looks guys in the eye, and I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. And I'm not a Laker fan, but I mean, he's played with Kobe. He's played like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaq, I think too,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's big time. So
That's awesome. I hope that brings some more people that are really serious about lacrosse, because you deserve it. You've really put a lot of hard work. Everybody sees you at all these tournaments, leading these guys around. So we really hope the best for you, and hopefully Crespi is such a legendary school in Los Angeles County that is kind of a small little unheard of school compared to like some of the big dogs in LA County. They're getting more publicity, but you guys deserve it.
I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say that. It's a great place. Yeah, and we've gone through our ups and downs, but I think we're going back up again, and hopefully in lacrosse we'll be able to have some of the success that some of the other sports teams have had in the past years.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. We really appreciate you being here. Any final thoughts you have for us? Any final stories you want to let us know about, or your Celts Nation or whatever who's going to be watching this, and all of our viewers?
No stories. Just want to thank you guys. I think that just kind of something in my mind, whether it's means a lot or not to anyone. I think coming out to California was different. Starting lacrosse, I think there's a lot of guys I've heard a lot of guys over the years, and they've said like, you don't know what real lacrosse is to these kids. And they've said, I'm from Pennsylvania or I'm from New York and this is the real lacrosse. And I gotta say, like, I cannot imagine. Pretty much most of my real coaching has been done out here. And I think these kids and these parents and these families are lucky I think there's great coaches and California lacrosse, like I'm all in, and I don't ever want to not be, like who cares where you're from? I think it's come so far and it has so far to go, but it's awesome. The lacrosse community out here is great. And I don't know if that means anything. I just think, people got to understand like California lacrosse is the real deal. And it's only going to get better. So,
Well, there's no question that some of the D1 coaches we've talked to have said, we used to recruit about as far as the Mississippi, and now
Yep.
we're coming to California, and these
Yep.
kids are equally as good as the players we've got. And a lot of that is attributed to the pipeline, is the youth
Yep.
programs that guys like you are funneling. The younger they start, the younger they learn the game and repetition, the better they're going to be in high school and then ultimately off to college. So kudos to everything you're doing, Coach, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time to help us out tonight to get this thing launched.
I'm flattered and honored that you guys asked me to be on this, so I appreciate it.
No. Jimmy speaks so highly of you and your program, and again, we're just a couple of guys in a garage that are trying to preach some messages and some stories out to California lacrosse fans, and we just launched this thing, and our first show comes out on Saturday.
Okay.
With Dallas Hartley from La Costa Canyon, and hopefully you can check it out, and your team can check it out, and then we'll let you know when your show is going to be on, and we're just super excited to be able to spend time with you tonight.
All right. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
So good luck to you this season, and
right.
And we'll probably catch up with you mid-season, see how things are going.
Sounds great.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Thanks, Coach. Have a great
You guys,
evening.
Good luck. Good luck with this. Keep doing it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your help. All right. Wow. What an amazing show tonight with Coach Brock from Crespi. It's been awesome to get to know him a little bit better. And again, we want to thank him for all that he's doing for youth lacrosse and high school lacrosse and just preparing kids in California to be the best they can possibly be, whether it be going on to college or whether it just be good people in the future. And that's what it's all about here. And I know we're breeding a lot of really great players, but a lot of really great people out here in California and the California lacrosse scene. So anyways, again, folks, we are so appreciative that you're watching our show tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to have more and more wonderful episodes and great coaches and stories that we're going to be telling about California lacrosse, and we're glad you could be along for the ride and join us on this adventure. And again, Jimmy here can let you know, or I will put on the screen how you can contact us. We want some feedback. We'd like to know what your thoughts are, things we're doing we should or shouldn't, or what you think we should have on this show. But we're all about storytelling. Again, a couple of guys in the garage that really feel passionate about California lacrosse and just trying to make it a great show for all of you. So thanks for joining us, and as always, keep it within the pipes. So long.